Welcome, Wanderer. We made Spiritborn incredibly strong without relying on 4 chaotic armor pieces, mythics, evading around weirdly, blasting bosses, hit 90 fall in, while we are having shoddy masterwork in greater affixes. And this is only 50% of the strength this build can actually reach. Now, Spiritborn has one big problem, and that's actually transitioning from Torment 1 to Torment 4 into then the hit 90 stage. However, we have 3 simple stages for you to go through to avoid any of those problems and roadblocks. Welcome to the Quill Volley Gorilla Smasher. Gameplay loop is quite simple. Dash into your opponents, summon your gorilla, pull them all together, and they're already vanishing into billions and billions of damage, while you are actually undying and permanently replenishing your barium. And then you reset your cooldowns extremely quick because of your key passive, and then rinse and repeat. You're able to just pull together, gorilla smash, damage, everything. Your potion is a big part of your damage because of your chaotic perks, and you actually quite notice this as you're then bashing away at the enemies, and then you use this cooldown that you can actually reduce via cooldown reduction, and suddenly, vap, your damage goes to the moon. Boss fights are quite similar. Summon your gorilla, stand on them, drink your potion for the massive damage boost, and yeah, that's it. Done. Now I mentioned 3 stages of the build. The first one being level 1 to 60 and Torment 2, because that's where we're playing Evade Spiritborn. And then we're going to swap to stage 2 and stage 3, the super endgame with chaotic armor that's going to make this build even stronger. Why are we leveling with Evade Spiritborn? Because the Eagle Spirit Hall is completely out of control. If you use an Eagle skill or evade, you shoot the 6 Storm Feathers for insane damage. And this allows you from level 15 on to pretty much do this on the expert difficulty. You're just dashing around and everyone just, gets destroyed. For the Evade Spiritborn, I got a complete planner for you with the actual leveling path. In order to make things clearer for you, I wanted to present you the core functionality of Evade Spiritborn. First, you have to understand all your damage is pretty much coming from the Eagle Spirit Hall. And as you then dash, you're going to shoot out the feathers. Now, obviously, we want to reduce our evade cooldown so we can pretty much keep doing this, right? And in order to do that, you're using the Thunder Pike. Because Thunder Pike says, when you evade, you attack with Thunder Pike along the way and make enemies vulnerable for 3 seconds, and every 3rd cast of Thunder Pike reduces your evade cooldown by 5 seconds. So what you're going to do is you can pretty much hold down your Thunder Pike button and then just evade. And whenever you come in contact with an enemy, you'll just attack them and reduce your evade cooldown, and you can continuously just keep evading. And that's pretty much the trick to it already. However, let's say you're stuck right here in the open and you can't reset your evade meaningful. Then you can actually use the attack in place. On mouse and keyboard, that would be holding down shift, and then I can attack with Thunder Pike here and pretty much dash, and can attack with Thunder Pike in place to actually keep dashing without even attacking an opponent. Now, is that even needed? No, absolutely not. You can just get away with attacking the opponents and then just dashing through them. It's just the more advanced way of playing the Evade Spiritborn if you then truly wish to. Your other skills, Armored Hide, the Scourge, and Ravager, they're just passively there to support you. I pretty much do the Thunder Pike evading, then some Armored Hide in between, and some Scorch in between, and then you just keep evading around and keep damaging them. While I then drop my ulti every now and then for tremendous damage, hope that it kills something, gets the reset, to then rinse and repeat, do it again. The only reason the Rock Splitter's in your skill bar is actually this amazing Resilient perk. For each base gorilla skill in your action bar, gain 4.5% maximum life, knock duration, and barrier generation. It's pretty damn good. In order to tremendously boost your damage, we're going to play Alacrity. Your basic skill gain increased attack speed and their dash range is increased. Well, we're pretty much dashing with Thunder Pike, so it works really well. The Crazy Brew gives us a huge bonus damage boost as we then drink it. With Mart Guard, we can't go above 50% life. However, we get way more barrier generation, which works wonders together with Beast Cornered, which gives us more damage the less life we have, and it drains our life further. Plus, this is going to get updated to not drain you too hard. And then you're pretty much dashing around and just hit them with damage before they can even hit back. Meanwhile, Auspicious will give you a nice amount of barium. Did I use a Beast Corner for leveling? No, absolutely not, because I wanted to test out how fast I was without relying on a unique perk, and it was 3 hours. If you would actually use a Beast Corner, I think you'd even be faster because you're just going to blow everything into pieces. Now you're going to play this all the way to Torment 2. And in Torment 2, you still do an amazing amount of damage without needing any specific uniques, right? You just have the standard aspects from the planner, you have your things going on, you put in your Paragon points, and that has you plenty strong. Not strong enough to go into Torment 3, not strong enough for Torment 4 by far and wide not. And you kind of want to have 200 Paragon points before Spiritborn feels really, really good. But in Torment 2, you can finally farm the unique pieces that you would need to advance your build to the next level. And for this, 3 things are absolutely non-negotiable. First would be the Rod of Ebewaka from Duriel. What does Ebewaka do? It says your core skills are now additional basic skills, okay? We're going to be swapping over to Quill Volley to shoot the Quill Volley out. It's amazing, does good damage, and it's on top of being a core skill, a basic skill, which means all basic skill boosts also boost Quill Volley. Then the Rod of Ebewaka says, when you cast at maximum vigor, your core skills consume all vigor to cast at their largest size and become guaranteed critical strikes, consuming said vigor to do 0.63% more damage. Right now, without a potion, I'm at 191, and with a potion, I'm at 216. Which means with my current Rod of Ebewaka, I'm getting already a nice 136% bonus damage on every single hit. Because you're going to get yourself the Ring of Midnight Sun from Grigoire the Galvanic Saint or Uravar. This one says when you critically strike, you regain 50% of your vigor you've spent in the last 2 seconds. With these 2 items, I'm consistently emptying and refilling my resource while pumping out tons of Overpowers. No worries, we'll get to the Overpowers in a bit. And these Overpowers and everything then feed the Jaguar Spirit Hall to say every 15th time you deal direct damage to an enemy, they take all that damage together again, and then you do billions of Overpower damage, and that leads to even more billions of Jaguar Spirit Hall damage, while you're actually consistently unstoppable because of the Gorilla. Now you probably guessed it already, if we're going to consume all our vigor at every given moment, which item would help the most? And that's where the Banished Lord's Talisman comes in. Now, you could wield it as an amulet, and the build would actually work. But it's better to have your Banished Lord's Talisman as your boots or pants. I have it as a helmet, which is unlucky because we need another item, but boots or pants would be great for the Banished Lord's Talisman. However, you could play it as your standard amulet, just turn out to be slightly weaker. The Banished Lord's Talisman says after 275 primary resource has been used, your next core skill would guaranteed Overpower, and crit Overpowers get 72% bonus damage. Well, the Rod of Ebewaka makes your strike always critical strike, so we always critical strike Overpower on every second hit for massive damages. Plus, we get ranks into core skills, which gives our Quill Volley even more damage anyways. And with these 3 pieces, you're good to go. You can advance from Torment 2 all the way to Torment 4. It is pretty much going to be an instantaneous jump. While you just have to make sure that you have enough armor and enough resistances. These are kind of like the 2 key things to look out for. Don't worry that you're consistently playing at 10% HP because the Gorilla consistently keeps you up. Your Protector just makes Barrier, Auspicious, that passive that we talked about earlier on the Evade Spiritborn, also gives you Barrier, and you can't die. It's amazing. Now we said that Rod of Ebewaka makes your core skill a basic skill, which means we can actually play the aspect of adaptability. Basic skill generate bonus resource, we don't care. Basic skills steal 0.83% damage. For each point of primary resource, you have up to 500 resource. We can have 216 with a potion times 0.83%. That's 179% bonus damage to your Quill Volley. That gets that 72% bonus damage that actually overpowers. And then with the rebounding aspect, your Quill Volley feathers explode at their apex and return to where they were cast, both dealing 61% of their normal damage. So they do a lot of damage, and then they explode, and then they return, and then go back and forth. It is kind of amazing, especially, again, with the Jack Spirit Hall. The more damage instances you deal, the faster it triggers. Now, there's one super important thing to mention about Ebewaka, Midnight Suns, and Banished Lord's Talisman. You have to make sure that your Essence Globe really depletes fully and restores fully. Not 90%, not 80% full. It needs to be empty full, 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 right? This is super, super important. And for this, you want a 50% Ring of Midnight Suns. Not 41, not 42, 50% would be the most optimal. And you want a lot of ranks into Vigorous. Casting a core skill increases all vigor generation by 50%. This then has you really restore back to the 100% vigor. You'll get more ranks to Vigorous from the Rod of Ebewaka. You don't want the greater affix there, I just simply have it. I also tempered some ranks to Vigorous on my amulet to really make sure that I get that 100%. What also helps is actually putting more points in here because I have only 1 point in and I get +9 from items. So I could put 2 more points in there to push it further. Really have an eye out if your resource globe actually replenishes. And since your resource globe goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, there's an amazing rune combo you can use. And that would be Pock Quox. Spend 400% of your maximum resource. Well, every attack actually spends 100% of my maximum resource. And then casting a skill other than a basic or defensive consumes all of your primary resource to increase your damage up to 100% for 1 second. That one is almost always on. Because we deplete, replenish, 100% bonus damage, deplete, replenish, while also getting that huge bonus damage from the Rod of Ebewaka, and then suddenly the Jaguar Spirit Hall is being boosted, and your attacks are being boosted, and you do more damage to make the Jaguar Spirit Hall stronger. Pock Quox is insane. As soon as you have the Ebewaka, the Midnight Suns, and the Banished Lord's Talisman, just slam it on. Now, I said the Banished Lord is terrible as your helmet, and you'd rather have it as a normal amulet and or a pair of pants or boots. The reason for that is that your helmet should be a harmony of Ebewaka. This says, according to your secondary Spirit Hall choice, your skills are all additional Jaguar, Eagle, Gorilla, or Centipede skills. And your skills deal 40% increased damage per spirit type they have. For my Gorilla itself, this is going to give me a Gorilla Jaguar. Okay, so that's 80% bonus damage, quite nice. But your feathers are actually an Eagle, Jaguar, Gorilla skill, which is another 120% bonus damage, on top of the 163% with the 137 from the Rod of Ebewaka, the 72% from the Banished Lord's Talisman, and the 180% we're generally getting from a Beast Cornered. You get the drift. The damage multiplies it up quite nicely. Now, I have it the wrong way around. Banished Lords as my helmet and Harmony of Ebewaka as my pants. Obviously, as your pants, the Harmony is 8% stronger than if it would be as your helmet. However, that's why I'm saying you don't need to rely on the Chaotic Uniques. It's good enough as a helmet. It doesn't need to be your pants. What I also added was the Pain Gorgeous Gauntlets. They give you attack speed, cooldown reduction, they can stun, and 8 ranks to basic skills. And since my Quill Volley is a basic skill, 8 ranks to it add quite some nice damage. And also, if we're damaging enemies with a non-basic skill, that marks them for 3 seconds, and then if we hit them with a basic skill, the damage echoes out behind them. It doesn't hurt. We're going to have the Vortex that actually does damage. You have the Scourge, which does some damage. We can do the Ravager for some damage. So we have actual abilities to damage them with non-basic skill casts to then have the Quill Volley go crazy. As our chess piece, we have Jacinth Shell. It says every second your active cooldowns each drain 10% of your maximum life to reduce their duration by 2 seconds. This gives us Gorilla faster. However, spending Vigor heals you for 6.5% of your maximum life. This should technically heal you back up, but a Beast Cornered also drains you lower down, which is us pretty much sit again at 1% HP at all given times, but it's fine because we have so much barrier generation that we're always fully buried up and can't simply die, especially since the Beast Corner gives us also so much damage reduction. Jacinth Shell also provides you with damage reduction while injured, we're always injured, and another 50% more total armor. And that's really needed to get that total armor you're looking for. As my boots, we're currently playing the Duelist Boneweave Trance for the maximum ferocity increased by 4 to attack even faster, with a resistance to all elements that we actually do get our resistance to all elements to a level that feels fine. Especially then together with a Soothing Spices for another 10%, and we get the Ray here as a mercenary with another 15%. So we're truly sitting at a point where we can't just get blasted into smithereens by some random elemental explosions. Now, before we talk about why the build is at 50% of its power, let's look at the Paragon Board, and then we'll tell you about the future of the build. We do get ourselves a lot of critical strike damage bonus that multiplies our critical strike damage we deal even up further. We get the Sapping Board, which has us restore even more vigor and gives us more damage, quite nice, together with Revenge. And we do Thorns damage over our Armored Height that gives us a little bit of Thorns, having the enemy take 15% more damage. Then we have even more Barrier Generation, and every piece of Barrier Generation makes the barrier from Protector be more than just 30% of our maximum life. It's not 30%. Barrier Generation makes it then be 50, 60, 70%. And then you also had the Beast Cornered and the Mark Guard, which gives another 100% Barrier Generation. So it pretty much doubles all the barriers we're getting. We get the Vicious Shield Board that gives us more damage the more barrier we have, together with a Canny Glyph for non-physical strike damage increase, and we do non-physical damage with the Storm Feathers. Then into the Convergent Boards that give us another 60% bonus damage on the Headhunter Glyph, making the Dexterity nodes better, and we get a lot of them to take here, but we don't have the Paragon points yet. Lastly, into the Revealing Board, where we have a chance to knock down vulnerable enemies and increased damage to crowd-controlled enemies, together with the Colossal Glyph. It gives us more damage per resolve. And we're always at maximum resolve with Armored Hide and the Gorilla Spirit Hall, giving us even more resolve while making us permanently unstoppable. Now, why are we only at 50% power? Because Chaotic Uniques, if you then actually get them, will make you so much stronger. This build right now, at this current level, it clears pit 90. It clears pit 80 in 2 minutes. It's fantastic. It's really good for grinding. It absolutely destroys the Infernal Hordes. However, if I really want to improve my power now, I either need the Rod of Kapaleka or the Sapasontek as a chaotic armor. It doesn't matter which one of the two, because if I get Rod of Kapaleka now as my boots, then I can play Sapasontek as my weapon, and vice versa. What does Sapasontek do together with Kapaleka? Sapasontek says, your basic skills deal 100% increased damage. Cool, I have a Quill Volley, it's a basic skill. Double the damage now. And it gives us 6 rank to follow through, which would be another 2% more damage per rank, plus Masterworks to our basic skills. And lastly, it has a chance for basic skills to deal double damage. While the Rod of Kapaleka gives us your core skills hit twice, and then you have Sapasontek with your basic skills deal double damage. So we get double damage from the thing itself, plus a chance to then deal double damage. That change alone should now have us go from 10, 20, 30 billion damage, all the way up to 60, 70, maybe even 100 billion already and above, and suddenly we can do pit 100 and go even further. Just that little change, that one chaotic armor that I have now not gotten in 30 Infernal Hordes. But we're so close. And it's the final super good leap that we could take. Plus, obviously, drop Jacinth Shell then for the Shroud of False Death. But that would require even more pieces. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Does this sound quite interesting to you? And could this fix your feeling of, I can't get stronger with Spiritborn? Any questions left, drop them in the comments below, I'll answer. And if you need some more help, we got more videos for you.